Hey, Tim,
Morning.
how
Yes.
many software programmers does it take to change a light bulb?
Look, I don't know. You got me.
Uh, it's a hardware problem.
Oh yeah, yep. Fair call. Yep.
So, why would a software programmer do that?
Well, my lights are all connected to the internet, so it could
Of
well
course
be
they
a
are. And,
software
and your kids control your lights, don't they?
problem.
Hey, Justin,
Yep.
um, is it true that you were still wearing nappies when you were first working in retail?
I
Oh, you
believe
know
it.
what? I reckon that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go. Look, the whole reason we wanted to have this conversation is, I rang a bank the other day and I rang the bank and I punched all the numbers in on the keyboard. I navigated their multiple menu structures and I waited the obligatory 30 or 40 minutes. And then I got through to a call center and the person said, sorry, I can't help you. I'm going to transfer you. And first time I thought, okay, well, look, I've waited this long. I'll wait another 20 minutes. And they got me through to this other person who said, I'm going to transfer you. And that put me through to a facility where I had to use another computerized menu system to answer a series of questions. And the line then dropped out.
Glad I wasn't in the office that day.
I just hate impersonal service. I really hate impersonal service. And I think one of the things that we do really well here is provide personal service. I mean, Tim, people know that your name is Tim. That's your real name. It's not your fake screen name.
Correct.
And when you talk with people, you are actually talking with people. They can see your beautiful mug rather than some, cartoonish sort of avatar. And the same with you, Justin. People see that it's really you.
Yeah.
And that it's authentic. And I think authenticity matters a lot today, where we're all trying to do business in this sort of remote way. Do you guys agree with that, or?
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually funny to think that people, I don't know, like these days, I mean, the feedback we get, people love the fact that they're talking to real people. Even growing up, walking in their shoes as well. I mean, you start with you've started off in retail, went to software. You look at our COO, he's probably gone down a similar path. You look at every department in the company, sales, development, support, our installation managers, whether it's working in, our own stores or growing up in other retail. I don't know. I think we do things backwards here and people tend to love that. We go with retail first and then tech rather than, hire someone with tech-based experience and then retail.
So let's pick up on that. That's interesting. And this conversation, because you guys don't know what we're going to talk about, and this conversation is very typical of what we do because we're unscripted.
Yeah.
And I think that matters because too many help desks, for example, when they're assisting people, whether it's with internet service providers or banks or whatever, they go through what are called scripts. And so you have to ask this question, and depending on the answer, you go here or here. Then you ask the next question, and then that bounces you around. And the person who's asking these questions often doesn't understand context. And Justin, it goes to your point in the sense that once you've actually done things that your customers are typically doing, you do understand context, and context is everything when it comes to providing customer service. I think that makes a big difference. I think one of the other things that makes a difference is the fact that you're able to actually have conversations with people. And I mean, Tim, you and I were talking the other day, and we probably shouldn't say this, but you said one of the best feelings you get is when you tell somebody that we're not the right company for them. Now, I know a lot of businesses that wouldn't want their salespeople to say that, but you've been doing this for a long time, and that gives you, my understanding is that gives you a feeling of kind of pleasure or power.
Oh, look, I wouldn't say pleasure or power. It's just, it's a good feeling because I genuinely feel like I'm doing the right thing. Like, it's the right thing by us because long term, it's probably a customer that isn't right for us. So, we don't necessarily, want that on our plate, but also from the customer's perspective, it's a really good feeling to say, hey, look, I'd love to be able to help you, but I don't think we're the best fit. Maybe go and look over here. I really do get a kick out of it.
When you say that, You're not saying it because of personalities. You're saying it because in terms of their needs and what our software does, there's a mismatch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, correct. Yeah, that's completely what it's about.
Yeah. You know, we're not racing for volume. As a company, we really prefer quality because we want customers who are going to be with us for the long term. If we're chasing volume, we'd make it purely about price and we'd say yes to everything everybody asks for. And I think that's why it's a good thing to, you know, when somebody's not right, you say, with all due respect, you say to them that we're not the right fit for you, and you move on. Justin, you just a few years ago, you were working on the help desk. And I wonder if you ever got the call from somebody who's saying, you know, my computer's not working. And you say to them, oh, look, can you just check this switch for me? And they say, oh, I can't because we're in the middle of a blackout.
Yeah.
You know, and I know it sounds like a setup, but the thing is, how many times does that happen when you do get the most unusual sort of questions?
Oh, absolutely. I used to freak out at those questions because, you know, you asked me 10 years ago, would I be in a techie sort of role? I probably would have laughed at you. And even a salesy roles now, I probably would have laughed at you as well. But yeah, those questions, they certainly made the day a bit better. It's really fun to listen to their response.
Yeah, I mean, because we're accessible, and because when people ring us, a human actually answers the phone, it's a pretty different experience to what people are used to with some tech companies and also with banks and places like that. And we certainly try to provide that experience. When you guys talk to customers, what is it that they tell you that they look for in that customer experience? Do people mention what they're looking for?
Look, you know, I had one just a couple of days ago, and you know, they don't necessarily tell us what they're looking for when it comes to support, but certainly when we talk about what our support team is and how it works, and the fact that I think a big difference is it's not a call center, it's a help desk, in the sense that you have a problem, you're not, like you said, you're not calling up, you're not getting switchboards, you're not getting, you know, the press 5 to go here, press 3 to go there. You're just getting through to real people. Like, you know, once upon a time, even, you know, Justin and I both worked on the help desk, and you know, we come from that background, and that's, you know, that's what our team still offers today.
Look, it's one of those things that you know, we would often internally say that it's all about being human, because part of the help desk experience is about having a conversation. People are often using technology they don't necessarily fully understand or like, and so it is a conversation to help, first of all, understand what the issues are, if there are issues or questions are, and then secondly, navigate a way to resolving those. And that's where making it about a conversation, I think, is really critical, because if you look at small business retail, which is, you know, where we focus as a company, one of the big differentiators in small business retail is about that personal service, that human touch. And we think that it's pretty important that we demonstrate that through the software. I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So, Tim, you are a fan of drones.
Oh, look, yeah, love it. Love a good drone. Yep.
Yeah. And you know, when you're thinking about the drones and that kind of that very first time, that experience.
When I first just buried them into the ground? Or?
Yeah, exactly. How did you feel when when you're playing with this thing you've never played with before, you never understood it, and it was just, you know, kind of freaking you out? You know, because that's how retailers would feel when they're using software for the first time that they've never seen before.
Yeah. Look, you know, it was a bit daunting. I mean, the first one I got didn't have any sort of real telemetry to it, so it was just, you know, you're in control of it. All the new ones these days, if you make a mistake, it just sorts itself. But the first one, I just watched it sail off into the sunset. So
I've got a similar story. Don't ask me about drones once. I think mine's still in the creek from the second time I used it. So
I didn't know you were a drone fan.
I was like for about 2 goes at it, and then it ended up in the creek. So I
really
erased it from a memory.
So you're a bit of a sports nut. You love sports. You know, one of our first customers, you know, decades ago, was a pretty famous AFL player. And that led to another AFL player, and then another AFL player, and then an umpire. And then in New South Wales, we got a couple of NRL players. These are all guys who kind of got into retail as sort of a second career. And it's fascinating to see people, because we often see people where going into retail as a second career. And it can be a challenge for them because they've got this history, whether it's in sport or something else, and then they kind of have to check that at the door and then learn about retail. And it's fascinating to see people make that transition.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've recently sold to a couple, whether it's, you know, sons of people that I've sold to or uncles. It's a really good experience.
Yeah, and in that situation,
I'll probably show them about 5 minutes of the software, and the rest of the hour is probably about footy. But
stuck into that.
Yeah.
All right. Look, I don't want to, you know, prattle on for too long, but what would your pitch, Tim, be to somebody about kind of this human connection and the value of that in point of sale software?
Yeah, look, you know, my pitch is quite simple. Our help desk is local. There's no overseas diversion, except obviously for Trav, who at the start of COVID decided he'd move to New Zealand. But, you know, our support team is all local. You're dealing with real people just like us. It's pick up the phone and call us. We've got heaps of resources to help. Yeah, there's a lot of facilities there.
And hey, for our New Zealand customers, Travis is local anyway.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, correct.
That works well. So Justin, from your point of view, in terms of personal service, what would you say to people who are asking about that and how that works?
Yeah, look, I'd echo what Tim said. I mean, I'd also say we're genuinely here to help. You know, Tim touched on before that most of the people in the company have come from other parts of the company as well. So no matter who you talk to, everyone's essentially been on that path where we can, you know, genuinely help you through that process, whether it's, you know, right from the start or, you know, 6 months down the track, 12 months down the track. You know, we're genuinely there to help.
Okay. So look, I guess I'd wrap up by saying this is kind of the sales team. We don't have professional marketers. We don't have people who've made a career of selling. And I think that leads to an authenticity, which is a good thing. But it also means that we sometimes crack jokes that aren't very funny. I'm guessing, Tim, you don't have a good joke to end with?
No, look, all of my jokes are dad jokes.
Are they? They're pretty bad?
Yeah.
And Justin, do you have anything or?
Oh, look, the last couple of years I've gone to Tim for a couple of good dad jokes, so I'm calculating those.
You know, he's not going to be far off being a grandpa soon, so you know, he'll be able to tell those.
Settle down.
How to tell those jokes. Hey, look, let's leave it there. So I would just finish off by saying Tim and Justin are they represent the personal service that we provide. You know, they're our salespeople. When you contact us about sales, you get to speak to them. And we're not passing you off to, as Tim said, to a call center. And I think that's a big deal. We're very Australian focused with what we do. So hopefully the video is interesting, and thanks for watching.
Nice.
Thanks.